Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Millennial Smark, and I'm giving you the slop, the whole slop, and nothing but the slop. Now, I'm hearing a lot of people lately talking about Ricky Starks and Penta and how they currently are right now with their status in WWE, and how you have so many other talents who are leaving AEW and they're going to NXT, like Ethan Page or Lexis King, for an example. You even have people like the returning Shawn Spears or Ty Dillinger. And the more and more and more you look at it, it's not just them also. Also, obviously, you look at the veterans, for an example, like a Cody Rhodes or a CM Punk. But that was more so because of circumstantial stuff, right? Like with Cody Rhodes, obviously it probably had something to do with money. It's always money. Probably has something to do with creative. It's always creative, especially when messing with people who have an opposing viewpoint than you when it comes to professional wrestling. CM Punk, we all know the drama. But honestly, when you look at the names currently in AEW right now from a veteran standpoint who are willing to play ball, let me ask you a question. Honest to God. Who have they truly put over so far? Who have they truly made so far? Like either A, they're currently standing on the necks of most of the talents that are currently existing in AEW right now who have no place to go because they know from the most part if their name is that low, they really don't have enough clout in order to go somewhere. Some of them do, but the majority of them don't, right? Or you have the other ones who literally are just there. They know they have nothing else better to do. They know theoretically they could go back to WWE and they could get another paycheck if they want to, but they know they're making the most money out of what they're making right now in AEW, and there's a good opportunity. Maybe, who knows, there might be another spark in their career, right? Take this for an example. Look at Mercedes Moné. I think she's a perfect example, and people are going to probably look at me and say, "Well, Devontae, what do you mean?" Shut up for a second. You have Mercedes Moné, who is currently in the mid-card right now, right? That's what they want to say. When in reality, when you take her name value into consideration, she's arguably the biggest women's star currently in AEW. It's either her or it's Toni Storm. So why the hell is she in the mid-card? Huh? Why the hell is she currently right now messing around with all the girls that she knows that she can go over without really any fight? Could it be the fact that she knows if she goes into the main event scene for the most part, she has to do a job? She has to probably do certain things in order to, be outshined by someone like a Toni Storm, for an example. It's not as if Toni Storm wasn't starting to heat up when she actually came into the company first last year, right? Why couldn't she theoretically put over someone like a Harley Cameron? Someone who's relatively hot. Obviously not hot, but like within the grand scheme of professional wrestling today, especially within the AEW space, relatively hot. She could have easily went down to a roll-up or something, got that championship belt off of her, and she could have went on, because it's pretty clear that that's what they want to do for Double or Nothing, is most likely Mercedes and Toni Storm, right? So why not get the belt off of her and start going towards that path? I mean, that would have been the perfect spot to do it at, right? Harley Cameron? Call me crazy. I could be wrong, but isn't she Australian? Right? I think she's Australian, if I'm not mistaken. Why can't she do the job in their hometown? Why couldn't Sasha Banks do the job for her in her hometown? She's super over. She has all these talents. Everybody loves her. She's legitimately in the mid-card. You could have actually made a star out of that. What was the reasoning? People are going to probably be like, well, Devontae, you can't have Mercedes Moné drop the belt. First off, why does Mercedes even have that belt to fucking begin with? No, she can absolutely drop the belt to a fluke roll-up or something to get the belt off of her and get it onto a legitimate mid-card talent who's relatively hot, who can actually use the belt. And, I know, maybe you can use Mercedes in your fledgling bullshit main event scene for the women. But that makes too much sense. Let's look at Edge for an example. Currently at the moment, right now in the World Heavyweight Championship division, legitimately, what did he do to get that title shot? Someone, anyone, reflect. Help me out here. Because when I think about Edge's career so far in AEW, I think he's feuded with Christian for the secondary championship, or third or fourth. It depends what month it is, right? And I think for the most part, in between that time frame, he was doing a lot of stupid ass, garbage ass jobber matches for the most part with a bunch of losers somewhere on fucking Collision in a stupid ass Cope Open challenge. Then eventually he got the opportunity to go up against Christian. And he won the championship belt that shouldn't even been in line to begin with these two. Only to eventually get into a feud with Aleister Black. have a 6-man tag match and never have a one-on-one match legitimately, go directly into a gimmick match where he broke his leg, forfeited the TNT championship, comes back and automatically gets a fucking title shot. How did he work for it character-wise? Where did this go from? Where did this come from? Why did he jump the line so fucking huge? See, hate them or love them at the moment, right? Let's look at someone like the Hurt Business. Look at the Hurt Business. Already tag team champions. What did they do? How did they get that opportunity? Anyone? Any trials and, turbulations or anything? Anybody. It looks like they just fucking randomly got that title shot, right? Let's look at the recent run so far of Jon Moxley, one of the worst runs arguably in professional wrestling history from a world champion. What has he done to elevate not just the championship belt, but the people around him? Who has he put over? Who has he helped out? Who has he elevated? Anyone? Waiting for people in the back? Anyone? Let's go to Chris Jericho. I can do this all fucking day. Let's go to Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho's not even, he's the ROH world champion. I'm sorry, he is a world champion. Because, when Jericho feasibly can't really do anything because it's a little bit too crowded with former WWE legends, I guess he has to try to find something to do. I mean, it's not like he can, retire. So instead, he goes to ROH, and the talent in ROH, the little bit of talent in ROH who can get away from all the WWE stuff, what happens with them? Oh, that's right, they're overshadowed by Jericho because he can't go to AEW, fight for the World Championship, and overshadow everybody there too. I mean, anybody? What is Jericho doing right now? Before the ROH Championship, but what was he doing previously? Oh, that's right, ruining every fucking AEW talent he can siphon off of that week because they happen to be hot at the moment. Anybody? We can do this all fucking day when it comes to the veterans of WWE constantly overshadowing people in AEW and running them out of the fucking company. Hell, even the talent that left WWE originally to come to AEW to make somewhat of a name for themselves, guys like Miro for an example, guys like Aleister Black for an example, guys like Buddy Murphy for an example, guys like Andrade for an example. What the fuck happened to them? They left WWE to come to AEW to make somewhat of a name for themselves. Oh, that's right. They're overshadowed by the guys in WWE who were formerly there, who, by the way, if they were to stay in WWE, they would have been perfectly fine. These guys needed to leave WWE to try to make a name for themselves. They come to AEW and automatically overshadowed by the guys who didn't get enough respect in WWE. Vince McMahon didn't give me my 5th World Championship title run, so therefore I'm upset. Oh boy, I'm being paid $9 million for 3 years and I'm not really doing much in the company, so let me go to another company and make a name for myself there. At the expense of the talent who could probably barely make $400,000 at the time, coming to another company to try to do something, even they are being fucked over. And they're gone now too for the most part, except for Buddy Matthews. Give it time though, give it time. Everywhere you look around, you see these guys in WWE, the veterans, come over. And the thing is, maybe it'd be one thing if they were actually doing some business, right? Like CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, for an example. Maybe if they were actually doing business. Maybe if they were actually bringing excitement to the product. Maybe if they were, for the most part, being draws for the company. Then yeah, okay, there could be a consideration there. Maybe there can be a bit of an understanding there. I understand where you're coming from. I know what you're doing. I get it. But what are these guys doing? What are these guys doing? What are any of them doing right now at the moment? Last time I checked a look at the ratings and the viewership number, it's actually almost 3 times as low as when the company first started. What are they doing right now? And please, don't give me that nonsense of, oh, Devontae, they're just following the calls from Tony Khan. Tony Khan, he's the creative director. Fuck out of here. As if these guys don't have clout to call the shots on some of their runs or some of the... Bryan Danielson, notice how I didn't name him. Bryan Danielson, he is probably, if not more over than everybody who I just named right now. And look what he's done. He's put over talents left and right. Bryan Danielson only won the World Heavyweight Championship one time. Had probably one of the shortest reigns compared to anybody who was already a former world champion, who I already talked about beforehand. Whether it's a shorter reign or shorter quantity in terms of how many runs they had so far with the World Heavyweight Championship. Bryan Danielson didn't do that. He put over everybody. Now, understandably, I would probably say that maybe to the detriment of his own career to a certain degree. But at the same time, he did put over everybody. He still had quality matches. He still did his thing. So why the fuck can he do it, but nobody else can do it? It's almost as if Bryan Danielson called the shots and he was like, nah, maybe it's because I'm winding down on my career and I want to make sure some of these guys get over. But I don't see Edge doing that. I don't see Jon Moxley doing that for shitty ass fucking Dick Riders gimmick right now. I don't see Mercedes Moné doing that for the women at all. Period. Point blank. She's probably the worst defender of them all. I see Jericho whenever he can't get his way, or I'm being a team player going down and fucking ruining everybody's momentum. Help me out here. Help me have a bit of an understanding here. And like I said, it's in every facet of every division right now at the moment. Every facet. Whether it's the World Championship contention right now with Moxley and Edge, whether right now you're looking at the mid-card technically with Chris Jericho, whether you're looking at the women with Mercedes Moné, whether you're looking at the tag team division with the Hurt Business, it's happening throughout the fucking roster. And again, it's not me sitting here and it's not me saying, for an example, that the AEW talent, the young talent in themselves, have any right to have the spots that they have, right? Right, it's not me saying, or at least suggesting, that these talents don't lack a bunch of stuff, for an example. Obviously. Maybe you can even argue to a certain degree that if they weren't so focused on other things compared to what the WWE talent made a name for themselves being focused on about 20 or 25 years ago, that maybe they wouldn't be in this position. Maybe you'll bring up an MJF. Maybe you'll bring up a Will Ospreay or a Kenny Omega, even though they themselves made a name for themselves outside of AEW, but we'll pretend as if this doesn't really have any merit, and we'll pretend as if they're legitimately just pure on AEW superstars. I'll ask you again. What are they currently doing right now? What have they done in the past few months? Seriously, look at MJF's title run. One of the worst title runs of all time. Barely ever main evented. And when he did main event, you ask yourself, why did he main event in comparison to the talent who were already on the card to begin with? Look at Will Ospreay. Look at Kenny Omega. When was the last time Kenny Omega was ever taken seriously? Look at Will Ospreay, a guy who obviously Tony Khan has a hard-on for, probably one of those guys who you would probably say probably should have been world champion right now. I know he'll probably make it sound like, oh, I'm doing what's best for the business, bruv. I don't want to just put myself in a position where I'm taking a spot from everybody, knowing good and damn well Tony probably didn't put you in that spot because he knows you're not that good of a fucking draw, and he knows that he doesn't want to be embarrassed paying you millions of dollars, and quite obviously you being one of his favorites, and knowing that it's going to embarrass him, embarrass his stupid ass Meltzer type of ideology to put you in that spot, knowing good and damn well that the way he thinks doesn't draw, and you happen to be a product of what he thinks. It's so fucking transparent and it's so fucking obvious. But here's a thought. Here's a fucking thought. Maybe if you actually gave something of prominence for a guy like a Will Ospreay to sink his teeth into, like WWE did the veterans that currently run the roost in your company right now, every facet of the fucking company in itself, that you end up putting in that position, maybe, just maybe, people will give a shit about a Will Ospreay, and maybe, just maybe, you'll probably wouldn't have a problem or be embarrassed to put him in the same spot that you currently have Edge and Jon Moxley in at the moment. Like I say, it's not lost on me when it comes to the skill levels in comparison to the people who are currently on top right now. But what I'm suggesting is the people who are currently on top right now, you brought them and put them on top when they're from a different company, rather than these superstars who you have such a hard on when listening to people like Meltzer talk, or looking at the positions that you put them into as far as the match work rate goes, how much time you give them in their stupid ass matches. Like I said, why won't you put those guys on top? The AEW guys. Because you're embarrassed. Yep, because you're embarrassed. But then I turn around and I ask one more time, embarrassed to what compared to what the hell these guys are currently doing at the top of the card right now, like a Mercedes or an Edge, for an example. Embarrassed to what? Embarrassed to what? I mean, granted, you could look at, say, for an example, Grand Slam and see someone like a Kenny Omega and a Will Ospreay open up and you try to force them in that position only for, reality to hit you in the face 15 minutes during the fucking match from the time it started to 15 minutes later when you lost over 400,000 fucking viewers. I guess that's reality slapping you in the face with a big hard cock, isn't it? Look, all I'm suggesting is that the more and more you keep doing this, the more and more you have prominent talent like a Ricky Starks, for an example, who was relatively hot about 2 or 3 years ago when he came off that run with MJF, where you could have done something with, but instead you brought the suckage of Jericho, screw everybody, man, over there to fuck him over, ruin his momentum, and look where he's at right now. I didn't even know Ethan Page was that good. I thought he fucking sucked. And then he came to NXT. It's like, oh, he's actually pretty fucking good. Color me shocked. Color me shocked. Wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happens. Fuck, look at Penta. Look at Penta. Poor Phoenix right now is being held hostage. But of course, all the WWE veterans, they have their spots. Fucking proven commodities doing shit all for your goddamn ratings. Doing shit all for your fucking viewership number. But put them in those spots. Get the fuck out of here, man. Let me hear your thoughts down in the comment section below in regards to the commentary. Again, you can bring us some more names if you want to. All I'm suggesting is, if these guys aren't doing anything, then maybe put them into a position, give them some decent stories where they can start putting over valuable talent who are actually going to be there for the next 15 to 20 years. At least 10, versus these guys who are clearly only here because they see a money mark who's willing to fucking give them millions of dollars for absolutely fucking nothing. It's pretty clear that's the point of all this. Yet you claim that, we just can't buy everybody. We can't pick up every free agent. I mean, golly gee willikers, man. We have to make sure that the talent that we bring in, they're actually going to make a substantial change to our product. Yeah, that's what he said about 5 or 6 years ago with Chris Jericho on his podcast, and look how that fucking turned out. Talking shit about Ted Turner and WCW and Eric Bischoff, but you're no different than them. In fact, even worse, because at least they picked up talents like Hulk Hogan. They picked up talents like Macho Man and Randy Savage. Whereas you're paying millions of fucking dollars for a Mercedes Moné. Get the fuck out of here. My name is Devontae, aka Millennial Smart, and I'll be catching you guys later. A deuces and a P ice.